We're back.
We return.
Hello.
Hello, hello. All right. So just before the break, we had a situation going on where Tromlin got the guy spying on you thrown out of the bar as well, and has returned to the table and headed off some of the further possible conversations that might go in a direction that he doesn't want to go. In fact, I don't think Tromlin is aware at this stage yet of exactly how much Ugna has been babbling about.
Yeah.
Unaware, at the same time not, because I know Ugna.
Yep.
Yep. I mean,
Like,
I have the gullible flaw for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, there's no question Ugna was going to say at least one thing I didn't want her to say.
But as we have gotten further into this drinking competition, we have now very much reached the evening. And in fact, I imagine you've moved towards having some actual food brought to your table.
Even if just to sap up some of the alcohol.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. And I'm sure Fetid is quite happy to extend the alcohol intake to also other organic matter.
I would also be showing Ernie the sigil and the note in the language I don't read.
Okay, interesting. So the only problem is that Peter
He's
is
not
still
here.
AFK, so maybe we'll wait for a moment for that. Peter, I don't recall if you have a headset that goes with you. I suspect not. So hopefully Peter will be back shortly. He told us he was going to be a minute, so I'm
Yeah.
not
Wouldn't be too long.
unsurprising. Oh, someone in the chat says, did Fetid actually try to sneak and talk to those quaggles? I missed that.
I was going to, but then we kind of got sidetracked by other stuff, and I didn't want to interrupt the flow.
No worries. I think what I'll do is I will say that actually let's while we're waiting for Peter, so I'll set that up.
Sure.
So you slipped away from the table to get over into the shadows and make your way to these quaggles. They're up in the rafters, so you can easily just climb up and get sort of out of the way of things.
Yeah.
We won't worry about rolls. Your stealth is pretty phenomenal, and you would easily be able to make your way up there.
Sure.
And the quaggles immediately, as you have come to get used to, immediately start going, it's you, and they're all like nervous about meeting the great folk hero. As your reputation precedes you in a way that you are not entirely comfortable with. But you sort of get them to like calm down and spit it out. What do you want?
Yeah. What's up, guys?
And they will inform you that one of the local quaggle leaders has been kidnapped.
Oh,
That's how they put it.
Okay.
And when you push them for more details, kidnapping might be a strong wording. In fact, what has happened is that one of the local quaggle leaders is a rock gnome, a small rock gnome woman. And as you know, in my setting, I'm having gnomes be actually tiny creatures. So because I like Scandinavian gnomes. And somebody has basically taken her and put her in a cage, like a pretty like a bird cage.
Wow.
Because they're like she's well known for being an exceptionally pretty gnome lady.
One of those.
So kidnapping, but someone has gone, a gnome for a pet. And they're wondering, as the local folk hero, if maybe you could come to the rescue and
That's
take
ridiculous.
your amazing ability to, chase away all the big folk and swing in on a rope maybe or something. All that sort of imagined a daring do. And then the fight breaks out downstairs, and like a chair gets thrown, and they scatter. I mean, you probably scatter too because it's just kind of instinctual.
Yeah.
But you've lost them now, and you're kind of like, oh crap.
All right.
I don't know what's going on.
Huh. Well, I guess. Well, I want to inform my friends about this development and then see what they think we should do in terms of when we're gonna get on the boat and do all of that other stuff as well.
So you make your way down to the back to the table as this other guy gets thrown out, and Tromlin also makes his way back to the table, and we reconvene all of the group at the one place. Peter, we were just saying that Tromlin is going to, upon returning to the table, show you this note with this sigil on it, which you immediately recognize Maestro Vittori's signature. And his house signet.
Oh, okay. So the people that we fucked with were his people, quite possibly. Oh, we don't know if those two people.
At least the ones watching from outside.
Okay.
And there's also a note in a language that Tromlin does not know.
I would like to find a quiet corner to speak in tongues in while I do a little bit of ritual magic and try and decipher the language or do the read languages ritual. But do I recognize the language to start with, just at a glance?
Yeah, you don't even need to. It is the occult tongue that is used by various supernatural researchy types in order to write up crazy, freaky secret stuff.
Have fun.
That I believe we called there it is, Obscurus.
Okay.
And you in fact read Obscurus. So.
Oh, okay, lovely. Well then, I'll give this a little peruse then.
Just pulling up notes. Yes. So, this note in Obscurus is a series of basically, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like a description of or order of events, basically. You don't recognize the hand that has written it. It's some scribe, but you recognize the information because this seems to be information written by, or at least copied from, something that would have been written by Don Emilio. It is an explanation to his father of the nature of your quest.
Okay.
And you quickly realize that this is a copy of some kind of missive that was secretly sent from Don Emilio to Karsh that seems to have arrived here before you, which would make sense that it's an Obscurus because that must have been magic, right? Or like even if it was like a note carried by like a fast bird, then it still would have involved magic to get it here.
Is there anything reported in it in a way that raises a flag for me that like Don Emilio was saying stuff that I would have thought he would have kept private, or is this like the kind of thing where like, okay, no, this was like family to family about a family thing?
No, it's basically most of what you told Don Emilio about why you wanted to see the Maestro. It includes the descriptions that you gave of what how you're going to try and travel using demonic steeds and that what you would need in terms of some sort of carriage or cart that can handle it's the whole idea. And I'll remind the audience and our guest that the idea being we're going to take phantom steeds that can go over any terrain, but if you're going to haul cargo with them, you kind of need something special in way of a wagon that can also randomly go over any terrain at ridiculous speed, because that isn't normally how this spell works. And so that description is entirely in here, as well as I can't remember everything that you discussed with Don Emilio, but everything about what you're doing and where you're going
Okay.
is basically in here. Clearly, you realize, oh, Don Emilio wrote this out in Obscurus to ensure that it doesn't fall into some other hands and give away what I'm,
Yeah.
these secrets.
All right. Good egg. Good egg. I like Don Emilio. I'm glad there was nothing in there where I'm like, wait, he said what about me?
Friggin' guy.
The old fool is coming to see you.
Yeah, exactly.
A little of that, but you're too socially oblivious to notice.
Yeah. So I'll do well, the good news, bad news. The bad news is you've robbed one of Don Emilio's men. But the good news is that you've robbed one of Don Emilio's men, or Don Vittori's men. So he's probably coming to see us soon. Which means we don't even need to get up to go see him. We can just hunker down right here. It's gonna be great. Should we go back outside and give this to that gentleman before he loses his job?
Maybe.
And at this point, Shaylin Tark walks into the bar.
Oh, hey, I like nudge Captain Chris. I'm like, that's our friend Shaylin. We got her a job here.
I look
Oh man.
at Ugna and say, honey, we've talked about oversharing.
Oh, am I doing that again?
Yeah.
I can
you
never
probably said a
tell.
lot. Just because people want to hear it doesn't mean they should.
And so Shaylin is going to immediately look around and like can't possibly miss the group of you, and we'll slip over to the table and probably address Ugna and Copernicus as the only people here she recognizes that she like. I don't think she barely ever spoke to Fetid.
Yeah, not
So it's
really.
basically just the two of you, and will say in a low voice and like sit down as though she's expected, like she's trying, she's being acting normal, like trying not to draw attention and being like, oh, I'm being sneaky. And she just pulls up a chair and says, I need to talk to Tromlin. Is he here?
Yes, you just might not recognize him at the moment, and I'll do a little side-eye thing.
She'll like
I
look
thought we
around.
weren't supposed to talk about that.
We're not.
Hey, kiddo, enjoying the new job?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to talk to you about, and I guess you needed to talk to me too.
Mm-hmm.
Can we talk somewhere private? And she looks around, not so much at you guys, but like at the bar.
Yeah. I'll meet with you guys up later, okay?
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
And at this stage, Randy's going to bow out here because he's not feeling great, which is fine. So for the audience, I will start next session with what did that discussion between Shaylin and Tromlin look like?
She turned me in for money.
Okay. So take it easy, Randy, and
Yeah,
Thanks,
feel
guys.
better.
Nice seeing
Feel
you,
better
Joe.
soon.
Hi, everybody.
Feel better.
Give us a moment to replace Randy. And already we have the Randy clone.
Amazing.
Lena's pretty on the ball. Okay, folks. Giving just Alina a second here to get our Cromlin placeholder.
Should be
in.
good.
We're good to go?
Yep, good to go.
Cool.
All right. So Tromlin is going to slip away with Shaylin and promises to meet up with you guys later. Probably asking before he leaves where he can locate your ship, Captain Krestov. So you inform him of the specific Smuggler's Cove south of the
Right.
city because you probably don't bring your obviously painted
No.
to blend in with the sea smuggler's ship.
Out
They
of
used to
yeah.
they used to actually coat them or paint them with a colored wax
Oh,
that
really?
that was like blue green was the standard, sort of
Nice.
dark blue green, and then people would wear dark blue outfits on the
Vanish
ships
against
because
the ocean. Yeah.
exactly.
Nice.
Nice.
Alina just put up the fetid in the vet cone eating garbage.
It's very
Oh,
good.
sweet.
It's very cute.
I love it.
It's
I didn't even see that. Oh, Lar.
There's another one too if you want to see that.
yeah, a larger the drinking contest.
Yes.
Oh,
Amazing.
sweet.
These are
So
both
good.
so
Do
good.
it up.
Oh, I want to see this. Are you gonna put it up, Lena?
Incredible.
It is up.
It's up
Okay.
on Twitter.
Brilliant.
I'm just waiting. I've just got a
It's
delay.
so
on
good.
it. Oh, Bugbear Chewy
It's
looks
so
really
good.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
my
really
God.
good. That's awesome.
I love it. I love everything about it.
I know.
So good.
That is like 100% what I am going to continue to have this NPC look like.
The,
Oh
the
my
physics
God.
of how
Beautiful.
fetid is drinking more fluid than his
Oh, it's
body
good.
has volume. Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
it's cartoon logic. Like it's the only
is
way to
really
explain
good.
it.
The way my body works. Don't shame me for it.
Right?
I'm not shaming you. I want to study you. Like
It's
I want to know how the
fascinating.
My
pocket
insides
dimensions
are
work.
non-Euclidean.
So good.
Alright, I'll bring
And
us
so-
back.
Tromlin is gone for a while, but a short time later, the individual who snuck out with the pair of them, not the one who was waiting across the street, but the other one, comes back into the bar and comes straight over to your table and bows low and then says, "Good evening, Cousin Sunshine. A message for you from your cousin."
Oh, so thoughtful.
And he
I'll,
delivers a scroll to you and then
Oh.
bows his way back away from the table.
Okay.
I sort of look over. I'm a little bit in my cups. Oh, you're royalty now.
Oh no,
Everyone
no.
bowing and things.
I'm a few people's favorite grandfunkel.
Ugna looks like she's about to say something, and this time does catch herself and like actually claps a hand over her mouth. She's like,
Well done.
So I'll give this little thing a read. I'll try to do it unostentatiously, but I think at this point there's some attention has been attracted.
Oh, and it's like a formal invitation to come and see him now, basically. It's like a normal person equivalent would be a note that just says, "Hey, I hear you're looking for me. Come by my place."
Yeah.
But instead, it's like got the address which you used to live at, so it's not like you needed to know that.
Yeah.
And it's like a formal invitation in very much Don Vittori's style. It's
Yeah.
all flowery language. He would have the greatest of pleasure to of your company this evening, forthwith, etc.
Of
Yours,
the
etc.
of the books that I'm currently traveling with, because I think I brought some.
You brought
things
some that you
that would
wanted
help-
to get him to look at. Yeah.
Yeah, because especially I think things that were relevant to like airship repair and/or weird engineering. So if I have anything that I think would be a good gift for him, or anything from my scrapbook of like adventures that would be like a little thing that he might have interest in, I'd like to just like have a gift in the chamber, ready to go.
For sure.
I crash on a lot of couches, so I try to make a point of being always having a little host gift. So I'll get that together, and I'll say, well, would you like to come meet my cousin Maestro Vittori Luzidia? Where he's invited me or us, not sure which, to go say hello and.
He bowed to everyone at the table.
Yeah. Okay. So that's open. This is open
It-
season.
I
it-
like being
It's
bowed
invited.
to. I could be bowed to a few more times, particularly if he's got some good drink.
Yeah, he has
They're
a
all
very
pretty
interesting. His entire liquor cabinet, if I remember correctly, everything in there is both a drink and also some kind of propellant or fuel. So anything in there is good for machines or people. really remarkable bit of curation.
If you and your friends would accompany me, I shall bring you to the Dawn forthwith.
Oh, I
Or
didn't
to the
realize the guy was still
Maestro.
here.
Say Maestro, not Dawn.
Okay. All right.
typo.
Well then, shall we?
Yeah, a Trey could use a little walk anyway. Gotta stretch his legs.
And while we're on the way over there, I would like to inform my remaining companions about this gnome in a cage situation.
Okay. I actually missed that part,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I will need to.
Okay, so yeah, I was catching up with some of the local quaggles, and their boss has been kidnapped and put in a bird cage, apparently because she's very cute. And I feel like we should probably do something about that.
Yeah, that's not very nice.
No, that's what I thought.
Who did this?
That I am not entirely sure about. I wanted to inform you guys and then see what order we wanted to pursue things in, because doesn't the boat leave tomorrow?
That was the plan.
Okay.
Well, if we go and have to give somebody a thumping, we might have to run afterwards. So maybe we do that one after?
Yeah, that might be the right way to handle things.
I will tell my
Because it
cousin
turns out
that
to be more complicated than a quick in and out.
I will tell my cousin that speed is of the essence.
Yeah.
We are needed elsewhere. We'll make this. We'll tell our story walking.
All right.
I'll go up to the our guide who's taking us there, even though I do know where I'm going, and just say it looks like we might have a bit of a situation to tend to after this. So if we could pick things up, I would appreciate it. I know how valuable the Maestro's time is. So
Certainly. Is there anything that can be done to assist you? The Maestro's staff are at your disposal.
I'll turn to Fedid for that one. Do we
Do
back up?
you know anybody who might have an interest in gnomes?
In sort of an illicit trade of gnomic
Or gnome
magics.
collecting, perhaps. Yes,
This can be investigated
I would appreciate that.
for certain. And in fact, when you arrive at the manse of Maestro Vittori, he will take aside a servant, and you can catch him instructing him to look into this. So the tower, the manse of Maestro Vittori, is like just this madman's Escher painting of.
So I've seen it before, but from afar, obviously.
Oh yes, for sure. It's got a whole lot of architecture that shouldn't be physically possible, and uses magic, obviously, to make it physically possible. There's like weird clockworks and like gears of like cranes and things on the outside for bringing machines in, and there's like an airship landing platform, which not very many buildings have. And so forth. As you approach, the one servant will sort of pull a little bell pull near the door, and the giant doors will just swing open at a touch because there's a whole bunch of weird gears and counterweights and stuff that make it all function properly. And you go in, and waiting for you at the bottom of the great staircase in the hall is Don Vittori. He's a short little man with a ridiculously large hat that is about the same height as the rest of him. He's like a human, but shorter than usual. You suspect there's halfling blood on that side of the family. Honestly, you also are like proportioned like the old guy from Up. So
Yeah.
so it's not too surprising. And he has like crazy mad flyaway white hair and strange like steampunk glasses-y things with like lenses and stuff on them that he can move in and out as he needs. And he goes, "I'm so happy to see you. It's been so long."
It is an absolute pleasure. Bring it in, cousin. Pernie's a hugger, and
Yeah,
I
he
probably would
absolutely-
forget before he wasn't.
Yeah, he absolutely comes in and pats you firmly on both shoulders.
I have brought you a book on the properties of different illegal combustants that I thought you might appreciate.
Why, thank you. That's so considerate of you. And he takes the book, passes it immediately to a servant who like bows and takes it away.
There's a really interesting chapter in there on using a certain part of the rock bird in a way you would not expect, and it's not the Barney part you'd expect either. So, happy reading. Curious to know what you'll make of that part.
So he invites you all to dinner, and like he just with that wave of his hand, and like you've still got Captain Kristoff with you, and like in the back, trailing behind, like staggering, is like Rocky, is drunkenly. Still, I mean, Fetid was definitely starting to win at this point, but he's like still following his boss. You know, he's looking around, amused, like he's not sure that any of this is real.
Yeah.
I've taken Trey out for a walk. He's on like a little harness, having an amble.
Yep.
So
On his
I will
little
say,
gimpy leg.
cousin, I am so glad to have time with you, and I must apologize because we've discovered a little situation has come up that we may need to come tend to rather urgently. So if I may be uncharacteristically direct and forward, may I share the nature of our problem and get your thoughts on that?
Yes, by all means. I got your letter from from Emilio.
Yeah, so you know the nature of our transportation problem. So we're trying to see what we can do to solve that. We also have young Trey here, who is in need of...
I'll lift him up and hold up his little leg.
His lens is all like... Bzz, 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 bzz,
Yeah.
bzz, bzz.
The thing that we don't know is how fast he'll be growing and for how long. So we
Yeah,
need
he's
something
gonna
that
get
can
pretty
help
big.
with those changes. And then
What
lastly,
seems to be the problem?
oh, Ugna.
He's missing a foot. He's gonna have trouble getting around if he doesn't have an extra foot.
Oh, I see. I didn't realize whether there was an ordinary feature of these creatures. This now he's like examining the leg
Yeah, I'm
specifically.
holding up one that's like got a foot, and then the other one be like, see, these need to match.
Oh yes, I see. This is very, very easy to deal with. Yes. And I got your letter from Emilio, so absolutely no difficulties. I in fact have such a device. It comes this way, easier to show you.
Keep marching on.
And he'll bring you into a workshop that is like everyone here except for Perny is like thanking, their gods or whatever that this isn't Call of Cthulhu, and I'm not going to make anyone do a sand check for walking into this room. But like, yeah, you walk into like an impossible workshop of what you would expect an artificer related to Perny to have as a workshop.
That sounds like something you need a sand check for.
Yeah,
I'm hesitant to try and touch anything.
yeah, like in order to have more space in the workshop, there's like a weird gravity magic. So there's like one wall is also a floor, and like a certain patch of the ceiling is also a bit of floor. So just to have more workspace. There's like a crane that goes both ways to different parts of the room. All kinds of weird robotic arms on clockwork. There's like hissing steam from boilers. Stuff is happening here that you're terrified to get too close to. And one of the things in the room, there's a cleared open space with a large trunk, like a big heavy steam trunk. And he goes over towards it and he's like, stand back now. And pulls a weird lever, one of those levers that has the little handle that you got to compress to pull on it, like a train line brake. And when he does so, he then jumps back as the trunk shifts, and it makes the Transformers noise. It goes like, and it like just explodes into a extremely ornate, ostentatious golden cart. two-wheeled cart with like the yoke at the front to hook up to pack animals. But the entire thing is like
Oh no,
practically
they're
made
called
of
packed animals.
packed animals. Oh God,
Yep.
Amazing.
That's
They come
so
in a
good.
can.
Very good. And the whole thing is like springs and like scissoring mechano pieces and cogs and so forth, like a crazy suspension system. Obviously, far more ostentatious than your purposes require, but physically.
Yeah, well, we were going real subtle
likely
with
do
the
the
demon
jobs.
horses, so
Yeah.
definitely gonna throw a wrench in that plan.
And he says, I built this years ago, but I've only had a few opportunities to use it. I would be very, very honored if you would take it and use it for your needs. Good
Yeah,
cousin.
I'll be sure to report back on how it performs and see how much damage we can do.
Oh, absolutely. I've never seen it be used in the mountains, and I would be very, very pleased to see what sort of parameters it performs for you.
Well, we will definitely be in the back country, so I guess we'll be sticking to what you might call trunk roads.
Oh God.
Crash heroes, everybody.
Yes.
Wow.
Hi.
And we also, so the situation that's come up, I'd be curious to know if you could shed any light on it. My friend Fetid here is in fact one of the folk heroes of the Quaggles. In fact, solved a problem for Don Emilio earlier this year, an issue with trade. And it seems the local Quaggles have told us that their leader was abducted and trapped in a bird cage, a gnome who's gone missing, and they're possibly looking for help. Fetid, could you tell a little bit more about what's been going on?
You know pretty much as I do at this point. The locals are saying that their leader has been kidnapped, but it doesn't sound like it's a ransom situation as much as like a collector situation.
I think I've heard of this. There's a magical creature of some sort.
I mean, she's a gnome, so as magical as your average gnome, I would assume. How much would I know?
Gnome more, gnome less.
Yeah, you don't know much about the like you've heard of like the Quaggles of Karsh, and like you've been to Karsh a few times.
Sure.
You know there's recently been like sort of an upcoming leader who's been kind of organizing the Quaggles a little better, but you don't know much about her.
Okay.
Certainly for someone to like yourself, for someone to kind of bring up the level of things happening in Quaggle land often requires like some like levels. Like you obviously having like multiple ranger levels. So it's possible that this is like a magic using gnome beyond like normal, just kind of generic gnome magic.
Right.
But he goes on to say, I heard something about some braggart of a noble person in the city who was talking about their magical singing gnome that they show off at parties and things like this. Maybe this is related?
Yeah, that sounds like our gnome.
So, do you happen to remember which noble?
I don't normally pay a lot of attention to that sort of thing, but I could certainly ask my people and find out.
Greatly appreciated.
Make the inquiries discreet, because I cannot promise that we won't do a little bit of
Violence.
ruckus raising on the way in and
Yeah.
out. I would not like to reflect poorly on your house.
Absolutely. He puts his finger next to his nose and,
Yeah.
and winks like very
Yeah.
not surreptitiously.
I have to remember how to blink. Yeah.
So yeah, he will say, if you are in such a great hurry, is there anything else that you need from me before you embark on your little mission? And I do very greatly appreciate that you're going to be helping out my son in your travel.
Oh, absolutely. It's always always a pleasure to be involved in one of his enterprises. No, if there's any messages that I can pass on your behalf into the southern lands, let me know. I'd be happy to pass on any greetings you have. Otherwise, you've been so incredibly helpful, and I simply wish that we had more time. Certainly, I will see if I can pay you a visit before we depart tomorrow if our break and enter proves successful and swift.
Nothing in particular. Although, if you do, I've been doing some study lately about some very fascinating dwarven magics, and so if you encounter any kind of information books that you often collect, that I do enjoy on rune magics, I would be very pleased if you could pass on that information to me.
I'll take a quick look at.
Your friend seems to have a frog in their throat.
That happens sometimes. A queen of the frogs.
She truly is. I will let you know. I actually may have some information on that front, and I've been doing a little bit of research myself.
I would love a perception roll from everybody.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
And of course, Zub, you've got your
Oh yeah, I'm
You've
extra
got your-
perceptive.
4.
advantage.
I got
Ooh, I
Whoa.
Or
23 and a 26.
Jesus.
Nice.
Yes.
Ugna notices
No
the
all
long-
in
Three here as well.
I notice Ugna.
Yes.
That was a 23 from Fetid also?
Actually, no, 25.
25. Okay, so there's some excellent rolls. So, Captain Kristoff, you're not super. You're like, what runes? Okay, but you quickly note, even in with your little bit of tipsiness, which is already fading. You didn't go too far down that road. You definitely notice the eyebrow raise, particularly on Ugna, who is not very good at hiding this sort of thing. And the look exchanged between her and Copernicus about this mention of rune magic.
Okay.
But you also notice, looking around the room, that there is a black stone-like material, kind of like a box shape, like a cube, sitting on one of the work tables in here that is covered in symbols that you would, as a non-expert, describe as runes.
Okay.
And you wonder if that is the nature of the maestro's interest. Fetid, you also notice that cube and are particularly taken by the fact that it looks like the same material that Ugna's rune sword is made from.
Oh, okay.
And even some of the symbols even look like it definitely looks like the same kind of stuff. You don't know anything about runes, but you're like,
Yeah.
That's some rune
there's
stuff.
a bunch of those same symbols.
Bernie's just
Okay.
smiling and nodding right now. Clearly oblivious.
We're just staring at each other like, durr.
Yes,
Okay.
we are both here.
Yes.
Well, I've been doing some research on that front, and if I find anything interesting, I will certainly let you know. Why do you ask?
Well, it's a matter that I've begun experimenting with. As you maybe you've heard of this is a lost art that the dwarven people used to use extensively to make magical artifacts, items of legendary powers, and I am very interested in the ability to do this on the devices of my design.
Well, I can tell you that I have the lead on a good contact who knows a certain amount about this in the dwarf city, friend of a friend who I've not met myself, who I could pass on their information. But I do believe it's something that the dwarves are a little bit guarded and protective about, and probably for good reason.
Yes. Well, let me explain my experimenting that I am trying to do. So, as it seems, one of the great difficulties is that you need someone who has. So many of these rune magics are used by the dwarf casters of runes to improve the magic items in their possession, but it is very difficult to attune these magical items, and that's the difficulty that I'm running into. I've made some runic items. I've learned how to make certain of these characters, and I have researched ways that I think will create certain magical effects. But so far, I've had great difficulty with having anyone attune one of these items to themselves. I believe that if I were to find a dwarf who has some sort of family heirloom that is attuned to them, it would be easier to attune other rune items to that person. But of course, the dwarf I've ever spoken to about any of this sort of thing is very, very not interested in my discussions. It's difficult. It's difficult. It's an area of research that it's delicate. I don't want to insult their families. Or...
Purdy. Purdy.
I'll take. That's very interesting. I'll make a little note in my book and open a line to Ugna about like, what is it? But be careful what you say.
What's attuning?
And I'll keep nodding, even though he's not talking. I'm nodding like he's talking. Like, yeah, and I'm writing. Attuning is when you make friends with a magic item and then it helps you.
That's a very
Okay.
good explanation.
It's a good summary.
I don't know if
So
I'm any good at that. But I haven't
wonder-
tried.
I wonder if Ugna's just saying this out loud.
Una's probably saying your half of the conversation out loud.
Yeah.
Let me.
I'm with like
I hope-
my lips kind of zipped, but like kind of like one of these.
I
Like
hope
a
to be able to share,
ventriloquist.
I hope to be able to share a bit of information with you before I leave the city tomorrow. We'll certainly try to get in touch if I think of any notes to share. May I have a quick look at what you've been working on?
Certainly. And he turns to that same table that you guys noticed before with this cube with several runes on it.
So,
Is
given my recent research, I'd like to do just like an Arcana check and just see, do I recognize any of the runes? Is there anything I understand about the structure or purpose of these?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Make me an Arcana check.
I got an 11 as my base roll, but I think I'm going to use advantage, because I really would like to be of help, and Vittori's doing us like a bunch of solids.
Sure.
Well,
you
that
said
one, that one,
11.
and the second one. So I'll stick with the 11.
Well, which is a 21 because you got a plus 10.
Yeah.
So,
It's still a pretty good roll.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I'm
it's
an
pretty
embarrassment to my family.
solid. So he will launch into a whole, technical explanation. You likewise are, you've got the Arcana knowledge. Everybody else is like going, wow,
Yeah.
sure. The gist is that he's got a handful of runes that he's learned, not a ton of them.
Yeah.
And he's got a bunch that he's strung together into what he thinks will be a good, effective magical effect. And he's inscribed them on this piece of black steel, which is an almost stone-like material. I think we made rolls about this before, and you recognize that this is in fact what that rune sword is made from.
Right.
Yeah.
This is a common material for, or a material that is favored for rune magic, which is the only reason he's using it. He got a small cube of it, which is all he has. And he's been trying to inscribe these runes on it in a way to make a magical effect. He believes he's got it sorted, and he has a magical effect that if he puts it on the right type of item, it will have a particular effect.
Yeah.
He believes he should inscribe it into the heel or heels of a pair of boots to create a magic item. The problem is, like he said, he's not sure enough about the magic to make this an item that anyone could attune to themselves, and he's tried, and it's not worked. And what he could do is try to make the item entirely out of the black steel, but that is hard. He doesn't have very much of it, and it's hard to get.
Yeah.
The other possibility, though, his hypothesis is that dwarves who have rune items attuned to them might be better at attuning another rune item to themselves. But he has had no way to test that hypothesis because every dwarf he's ever brought up the subject of rune magic with has basically gone like super xenophobe mode, as dwarves are wont to do, and been like, what do you know about runes? Do we need to destroy you for knowing our secrets?
So
So he wishes he knew someone with a runic item that he could test out this magic item.
So I'm gonna definitely. This is like, Perny loves forbidden knowledge, but culturally protected and culturally sacred forbidden knowledge we're not gonna fuck with that. That's even Perny's got lines he won't cross. So, but I'll nod. I'll say that I'm willing to introduce my contact, but I will require that he has to be upfront about what he's doing with the contact. If I'm gonna make the introduction, and I will make some inquiries and let you know, because I know some people who know things in this area, and I know some dwarves who have opened themselves up a little bit to trusting other people, and they might be willing to extend that. But that's
You
all I can
would
say.
also know with your research and your roles that this is not a particularly like the rune magic is not created by the dwarves. The dwarves hoard it.
Okay.
It definitely it predates
Okay.
the dwarves' existence. In fact, the legends say that the giants and the dwarves were made from stone using the magic of runes.
Oh.
But like, there's tales of the elves using rune magic and others. So it's
Okay.
it's not that it's like
They branded it most successfully.
Yeah.
yeah, or more to the point, they've hoarded all that they can get.
Okay. But I'll say that I have to be back before we leave to have another discussion on this. But I need to check in with some people.
And I would like a roll from Ugna at this point because I feel like you're
I'm
not
gonna
very
try
good
to touch
at.
it. I want to try to
keeping
touch it.
pace. Yeah.
What am I rolling?
This is I'm just trying to decide what form of wisdom check this is going to be. It's definitely going to be a wisdom check. You know what? Just make me a straight wave.
Just a straight roll?
A wisdom save, yeah.
Oh, okay. I rolled at 10, so that's 10.
Okay.
I made 10 at least.
It occurs to you that you know how you're not supposed to tell anyone about your rune magic?
Yep. That's the biggest rule of that rune magic.
Except the people that you really trust. Like most of the people you know. You
Yeah.
feel like you can really trust Vittorio.
Probably could.
Or Vittori.
Yeah. I am being really obviously, like, looking around and then, like, going to touch this black box.
I will. What I'll do is I'll clasp Ugna's hand in a friendly way and say, I know that we have to run, so we can take care of that gnome. So you don't have to make any decisions right now, but we could talk about it, and you can make a decision later while we go help the gnome.
He's family, right? Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah. But it's your decision, and you get to make it. And I just want to remind you of that.
okay. What if I touched it just a little?
My friend would like to touch it just a little. She has some experience with rune magic as well.
That's excellent. I would absolutely love to hear any sort of feedback you could give me about this. So yeah, you touch the square and immediately feel similar feelings to when you
Ooh.
picked up the sword. The sword, out of character, the sword is attuned to you. You just don't necessarily realize it.
No. I did spend some time with it at night, like telling it stories of my mom, wondering what she did with that sword, where she is now.
And
That-
your minus
how
one
I
arcana
attuned it.
didn't help you
No.
a lot.
So I told it stories. That's how I attuned it to me.
Nice.
You made friends.
So on that note, I will reveal the first poll of the night,
Oh, wow.
which
Oh.
is about
It was a
the
helping thing.
magic item effect that Ugna can get out of this.
Oh.
So in the interest of time, just because I know we want to get
Yeah.
you guys moving, and I know
Ship.
that Peter has to
To the
leave us
ship.
slightly early. Yeah. Vittori will be extremely fascinated by the fact that you have a reaction here, and will say, "I don't know what the nature of this is, what connection you might have. Perhaps somewhere in your family you have some rune magicians in your history. Do you have any dwarf in you?"
I
He
don't.
like stares up
Yeah.
at your 7.5 foot tall, or obviously orcish
Well,
frame,
I was raised by a dwarf.
Oh, you were raised by dwarf. That could be.
Maybe.
That's. I mean, I'm not a biologist, so I don't know. But perhaps, if you would allow me to try my magic effect And Thea, if it can attune to you, I would be most appreciative.
Sure, yeah, yeah.
I can record anything that we observe, and I'll make sure to send you a
Please
full report.
do. And the last thing that you will do here with Vittori before you leave, he will take your boots and ask you to give him your boots and into the metal of the heel portion, the sole of the heel, the strongest part of your boot, your hobnailed steel parts, like a horseshoe. He will inscribe some runes, and your boots will become boots of climbing and leaping, which is what the chat chose for your
That's
boots
terrifying.
to be.
Ugna leaping at you at Mach 2 is very scary.
Those are awesome.
So
That's a good magic item.
So there's no way for him to test it now because it requires attunement, and he will sort of instruct. Obviously, Perny knows all about this, and he'll say they have to be attuned, and you're like, oh yeah, that'll take at night. We have to go, but I will. And he makes you promise to send him word as soon as possible as to whether it worked, because he's absolutely desperate to know if his theory is right.
Cool. I'm excited for this too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm part of the science project.
Yep. May get you more information about the rune magic. So.
Yeah. Win-win-win.
Uh,
Cool.
And
I
from
think-
there, you guys can head out.
Yeah, I think we gotta go kick in a noble's door and stop
yeah.
them from abducting people.
Well,
Well,
I have a little easy shortcut because this would involve Tromlin significantly.
I'm gonna briefly step out if that's okay for like less than 5 minutes.
yeah, sure.
Yeah,
That's fine.
that's fine. I am going to suggest
That we move to the ship.
that you send word to Tromlin because you know of his connections with the Thieves Guild in town. The probably before you leave, the Maestro hears word back from his people as to which noble has been bragging about their magic singing gnome in a cage, and you pass that information on to Tromlin. Because I'm going to go ahead and speed you guys up to heading out in the ship. I have to do Tromlin's conversation with Shaylin at the beginning of next game,
Yeah,
so I'll do it in
just pick up with
flashback.
that. Cool.
And I will do at the same time, we will flash back to what happens with the magic gnome.
Just
good.
before we leave the Maestro, I'm gonna put a thing that hot off the Lar presses here,
Oh my god.
like seconds ago.
I have a suspicion I know what it might be.
Here we
I think
are.
I wondered when I first decided that the Maestro was basically the Mad Hatter. Yep.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's very good.
Awesome.
Lar.
Also, I don't believe how much I believe that character is related to Perny. That looks like Perny's cousin.
It didn't take a lot of inspiration to decide that that's what the Maestro was going to be like based on what
Super
Perny
good.
is.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I love it.
Lar, you're amazing.
Oh man.
Oh dear. Okay.
It's very-
So, the bunch of you head out to get back to the ship. Now, when you told them that your ship was leaving the next day, of course, day for you as a smuggler,
Right.
you're going to head out in the dark before the dawn and get
Right,
on the
right.
seas by the time the sun rises.
Absolutely.
So no patrol boat picks you up leaving the Smuggler's Cove. So yeah, with your now stumbling bugbear coxswain in tow.
Right.
I just came back and heard bugbear cocks. So
Welcome to Trash Heroes.
So we'll head on to the ship, and I'll do a quick little introduction of the crew. I'll be like,
Sure.
this here, and I'm a little bit. This here is Mr. Scree, our first mate, and it's he's basically an Aarakocra parrot.
Good.
First mate.
Good.
Fat
And he's
green parrot.
Then we've got this chubby, short tabaxi woman. That's Mrs. Paws. She's a fine cook on the sea. She's got it all figured out. Then and then a one-eyed goblin with an eye patch on comes out.
Oh, that
and
was the one-eyed character. Oops. Whatever. They can both
They
be
both have
eyes.
one eye.
he's our gunner, and he manages the cannons and the armaments. And then you've already met Rocky, and then I basically name off a couple other lubbers around the place.
And in fact, two of these crew. Oh, sorry. Is there more crew you want to introduce?
Yeah, so I just sort of go through a bunch of other random people, and then I go, and then we've got a few new lubbers that we've added to the mix here. And what's your names again? And I sort of lean a little because I'm just a bit tipsy.
And at that, a pair of raven folk will poke their heads out of the cable tier where all the ropes are, covered, like, just badly tangled.
Yeah.
It's very Jeremy from the Rats of Nim, tangled up, like they're trying their best, and it's Heracles and Jericles.
Aw.
Yay, our
Heracles and
favorite
Heracles.
jabronis.
Amazing.
And they will say, we are sailors now.
Hey, it's
Oh.
you guys.
As
Hi.
like sail falls down over top of them.
Oh, you're those people we didn't kill. Oh. So good to see you, still not killed.
Yeah, great. They're still here.
You helped us against that shambling mound. It's only one for those.
They flap around underneath the sail, going like, yes, we did. Help, help. And other members of the crew come over and like exasperatedly pull the sails off them.
Sounds about right.
This is a good time for the second poll of the night to go up. So I am going to ask my shadow DM to get the second poll going, and I'll ask y'all to look away from the chat.
I literally ran away from
briefly?
the camera earlier because Meg had fallen behind your computer and couldn't get out.
Oh my gosh.
I had to untangle her.
Beautiful. You love to see it.
So basically, Meg is playing Heracles and Jericles.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well done, Meg. So, as always, I will remind the audience that you can vote in the poll. It is now live. You have 10 minutes. Additional votes can be bought with your channel points or bits as you choose, but you get to decide which of these amusing options is the correct one for our players to have to deal with later. So I'll point out, lots of fun getting onto the ship in the first place. You have a drunken coxswain, and for those who are unaware, the coxswain is the guy who runs the boats that go on and off the ship and steers the ship. So we've got some fun drunk driving, because that's yay. It's an adult stream. There's no kids here. Kids don't drink and drive. But eventually, Rocky manages to row the boat across and bump against the side of the ship and get you guys aboard. At which point, the captain introduces all of these crew. Gribblegrot. Yeah, so, Perny, you've seen some of these kind of devices, these cannon. They're all very small, like 4-pounders on this ship, because it's a small little schooner of a ship. Total of 15 crew, including the captain and everybody on board.
But it makes the parsnips.
It makes the parsnips like fast. 9 parsnips fast
real
is how
fast.
quickly he made the Cressel run. Whatever that means. D&D world.
In the time
I'm-
it took
I'm
to boil
assuming-
9 consecutive parsnips.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I am assuming
Yeah.
that Cressel is a kind of like salad or like a green. So
it's an
all
island.
of it's
It's an island, a Cressel
It's
Island.
an island. They sailed out to the island of Cressel. That's the Cressel run.
In the time it took to boil 9 parsnips.
Exactly.
There it
Perfect.
is. There we go. It all makes
Yeah,
sense.
done.
Yeah. Speaking of cannon, we just made one.
Hey-o.
And there is, in fact, this Gribblegrot, this little one-eyed goblin who's just like lovingly polishing the cannons when you come up. And in response to the captain's introduction, he just goes.
It's a great sign.
Good.
Do you have cause to use these often?
Oh, no. We outrun more than we battle.
Okay, well, if a certain someone had a certain mad inventor cousin that was in need of someone to test certain illegal weapons, that wanted to know someone who might use those weapons at certain times for field tests, etc., it would just be helpful to know. That's all.
Oh.
We'll talk later, I say to Grilka.
Yeah, Grillrot's like one bloodshot yellow eye is huge, and he's like, he's
Finally,
he's
someone
very
less
into this.
responsible than me.
Good. Excellent.
You wouldn't think it, but he's quite erudite at times.
Very good at what he does, and what he does is blow shit up.
Oh, I gave my book on combustibles to the wrong person.
Clearly.
The fat parrot with like the red bandana tied around his head and his, I can't remember now. I'm trying to remember what Mr. Smee looks like. Is it like white and blue stripes?
Yeah,
Anyway.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he's got a white and blue striped vest. He sidles up and like surreptitiously, but it's him, so it's like a loud shriek as he says, "Cargo's all aboard, Captain." Right?
Sort of look around and I go, well then, let's head forth. Fifth even. And just kind of stumble off and get us rolling.
You're almost like exit stage left.
Exit, stage left. Yeah.
So I'm gonna take it that we have Tromlin with us, and something happened with the gnome already. In the timeline,
so-
we're doing a little skip jump.
Yeah.
Or...
Yeah, so you would at this point remind him. Oh no, we're waiting for Tromlin. You recall the location of this cove to
Yeah.
Tromlin.
Yeah.
With a couple hours later, Tromlin will arrive in a hurry, carrying with him a small golden cage covered with a black cloth, and he will come running from the city, going. We should go now. Probably like waving at the boat from the shore for a while first, like jumping up and down and going, "Come on!"
Nice.
Until you're still somewhat
Gotta go.
hungover. Bugbear Coxon like rows the boat out and like, and brings him back. And we'll begin next game with a flashback of
To his adventures.
of that little adventure.
Which I'm sure went perfectly fine and no one was harmed.
I might actually, just because it's mostly his
He doesn't have a
plot.
black token right now, so he could take one.
I'm going to say because it was mostly his plot that when you sent a message to him, it was Fetid that you sent to him. Because there's no reason why Fetid couldn't be coming back with him right now too.
Nice.
I don't think anything happened in between that retcon affects. Sound good, Jeff?
Yeah, makes sense to me.
So the two of you will start next game with a little wacky side adventure.
Into it.
And just quick, so last time Tromlin disappeared, he had sex with a goddess, and then this time he disappeared with a small person.
Yes.
And a certain amount of time has elapsed between those events. I think we are required to assume that he has sired a half-god child that he now has in a cage.
That adds up to me. Yeah.
Add another cannon to the boat, Captain.
Well, he does have a black token.
We'll see what happens.
Although he doesn't
with
have that
token.
anymore. You called it in at some point.
No, there was it was supposed to still be on him, and I think it just got. We took it on and off
I
randomly.
think I have the wrong one up because it also says Fetid still has his and he doesn't. I do.
Oh no, you do. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's just the wrong
the
version.
wrong
But
one.
we, just for the audience's information, we had some issues with OBS setup today, and so we had to kind of like rebuild
At
that.
high speed.
Oh man, we have a very clear two-way battle in that poll.
Okay.
There is a 0% on the third option. Those two are in neck and neck. So, okay. So y'all is on the boat. So before the dawn, Captain Kristoff, do you want to, or Kristoff, do you want to get yourself out of here using magical means?
Yeah. So I'll basically head up to the front of the ship and kind of wave my wings, and then I'm gonna summon a big gust of wind so the sails will unfurl, and we are off at a surprisingly quick clip compared to what the weather would normally have allowed for us.
Can I arcana what just happened?
The captain is an airbender.
Sure, go for it. I'll throw some extra flavor on that for you, Zub, just because we're in the last chunk of the game.
23, by the way.
So the captain pulls out like a small wooden bowl and like runs like dips some water out of the water butt and like runs his bird hand through it. I say hand, but whatever, wing. And then does this pose, and there's a sudden breeze. And yeah, with Arcana, the sea foam around the ship is behaving in ways that the sea shouldn't, based on, the current winds and tides. And the breeze that came up, again, does not match with the current winds and tides. And you quickly realize that the captain is using druid magic and has summoned a water elemental to navigate the ship through the shoals of this treacherous little cove, and is using a spell to create wind to fill the sails. And you suddenly realize perhaps why the captain has such a reputation as to have notoriety as a smuggler and pirate.
Obviously, druids are really good at growing things like parsnips, so that'll track.
Yeah.
There you go.
Right?
That's why he's measuring in parsnips.
In this case, the magic of this druid is magic is wizardry related to being a druid of the land, and his terrain type is coastal. So this is, you could say, wizardry of the coast.
Oh,
I was wondering if we were going to work that in there.
Good.
When
too.
we were talking about the
Yeah,
concept,
too.
I was like, wait a minute, he's a wizard of the coast. This is good. Oh, it's so good.
So that was for you, audience. No, it was
I'm
for
sad
me.
I can't see
Everything
the
I say is
chat.
for me. Holy heck. Okay. That the final rundown of that was incredibly close.
Ooh.
And a lot of votes. So I see now there is a clear winner. Thank you very much for all of your votes, audience. I am going to be making much use of that through this sea voyage. Okay, so quickly you get, even though it's almost pitch black, there's just a little bit of moonlight remaining in the sky as you just some that funky phosphorescence on the waves as the water elementals lick against the boat, and the wind, unnatural magical wind, picks up the sails, and you swiftly journey out into the night, into the coming dawn as the sky begins to lighten, and make your way southward. Anybody have any exploration of the ship or anything else you want to do in the first little while here before we
I
speed
will
into the journey?
Ask the captain some annoying questions about the ship.
Go for it.
Yep.
I will rein myself in from doing any sort of overly
Piratey.
ship stuff. Sorry,
Yeah.
People for like games like this, people put out like ship maps and stuff to put minis on and stuff, and they're always so bad. It always bugs the hell out of me. Where there's like, there'll be like a giant cabin with like a double bed in it, and you're like,
Oh, that was Our Flag Means Death. We were watching it. You
Or
were just like,
to-
nobody's adjusting the lines. Why
we're
is this
watching our
room so
flags make
big?
death. I'm like,
oh boy.
badly researched chips. Everyone sleeps in a hammock. You roll
Right.
out of a bed. Anyway,
You know what a pirate's favorite D&D race is?
Oh no.
Arakakra.
there is in fact a first mate here that is an
It's
Arakakra.
It's true.
It's an Arakakra.
Oh, no!
So bad.
Even better.
Yep.
All
So
right,
yes,
well,
Mr. Scree will head up to the helm and steady the coxswain who's steering the ship out of the shoals because the coxswain's a little bit still in the sheets,
Awesome.
but
Yeah.
he recovers quickly.
Cocks in the sheets, cocks in the streets.
Oh no.
Coxswain. It's
Cocks
not
in
my
the
fault.
sheets,
I didn't invent
sun
the
in the
English
streets.
language.
Ah,
Yeah.
I would
You
like to find a corner to maybe try contacting the demons again, and I might require a babysitter again, but maybe someone stronger than Fed.
Yeah, probably something
Yeah.
stronger than me. Didn't work out too great last time.
Sure. You want to let Ugna know that you're going to be doing this, or you
Yeah.
could pick a member of the crew.
Yeah, no, I'll let Ugna know, and maybe so if Tromlin is here, but Randy's not.
Yeah.
But I would probably have Tromlin be like the person who tells Ugna what to do with me, and
Yeah.
Ugna is the person who will do it. So maybe this can just manifest as Ugna getting some kind of like bonus to
to figure it
deciding
out.
how and when to intercede.
Yeah.
However we
good.
want to play this, I'm game.
Sounds good.
But
yeah,
yeah,
I've been up at the bow, like chatting with the captain, and we've gotten to the point where I asked you annoying questions about what is this line for? What's this for? And now we've gotten to the point where I'm like looking around, being like, did you ever have to fight any like sea serpents?
Occasionally we've got a few tentacles coming forth from the sea, larger than a man, big, disgusting. We had to sort of beat it down and make a bit of a run for it,
Well, I bet. I don't know how you'd fight something that was in the water. It'd be real hard to punch it.
It's a little bit complicated.
Maybe
You
Rocky
do
could do
know
it.
how to swim, don't you?
I think so.
Oh, I hope you know how to swim.
I'm pretty
You're
sure I
saying
could
you've
figure
never
it out.
swam before.
Pretty sure I could figure it out.
Maybe make her some giant floaties.
Big water wings.
Yeah.
I sort of look at the others and go, do they all know how to swim?
Oh yeah, probably yeah. Yeah, pretty sure.
I'm a lizard. I know how to swim.
figure it out.
Figure it out.
Wiggle your tail back and forth.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I can. Yeah, I can swim.
Well, the
How's a
good
boat?
news is that the weather is seasonably nice this time of year. Slide wipe 2. Hard rains pouring down on the deck. The ship
I've been
rocking
roped
back
to the
and
mast.
forth. Everyone
Good.
feeling seasick.
For sure,
Purdy is-
especially because if anyone hasn't picked up on the accent, Captain Christoph is from Aldercove, which is based on Newfoundland.
Yeah,
right.
I heard the from away.
Pretty nice.
Oh,
Away.
way.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
Anyone actually from Newfoundland's just going to be cringing the whole way through. But
Where are you to, bye?
hey, buddy, come on.
Yeah.
The seasonably nice weather in that context
Exactly.
is like it's not
Maelstrom.
hurricane level.
Yeah.
Right?
It's pretty good, actually.
It's only
We
raining.
had it way worse last year. Last year was
a whiteout.
that was a real shake-up. Yeah.
So I've heard about a tradition in Alder Cove that involves doing something with a fish on the mouth. I was just wondering if
no.
that's true.
Well, that's a little bit of an initiation there. So it's not something I can really speak to until you're part of the crew.
Ugna, do you have any booze on you?
Yeah. Let's pull out a flask.
Well, we're all being friends here. I just thought we should pass this around and then ask more questions about the forbidden knowledge.
Gribblegrot like just appears at somebody's elbow because he's like, what a screeching in, because obviously you got to do that with his brew.
Slightly explosive. It's fine.
I'm gonna go
Yeah.
ahead and straight up say this is probably on the bucket list.
Good.
Screeched. Actually, that makes a very good sense.
That makes a ton of sense. Yeah. So Perny's gonna keep tugging at this thread throughout the journey.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, actually, you know what, Lane? I think I need to message you.
Uh-oh.
Am I opening a
I'm
can of
gonna-
worms that we don't have time to close before I have to go? Is my only question.
It's okay. We can manage. If I have to NPC the good captain next time, I shall.
Just do your best Newfie accent. You'll be fine.
Oh no, that's fine. My question though is going to be, do you wish to delay your intentions of checking in with some demons for now?
I feel like maybe I should save the thing that I was about to do now. Maybe I'll do that next session.
I think the
and
thing that you're about to do now is more interesting to do now and
Yeah.
save the,
Let's
the
do it,
Fun
let's
demons.
do it.
role-playing with
Sounds good.
Demons,
Yeah.
you're going to be
Sounds
asking
good.
about your destination, right? With the
Yeah.
demons, so it's
Yeah.
not going to be relevant till next game,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, let's do this now then. I mean,
Okay.
I'm not doing anything.
Definitely
Nothing.
not. No.
Nothing whatsoever.
Nothing is happening other than
Yeah.
trying to bring this conversation around to
Yeah.
talk more about being initiated.
And all of us
Um,
being such close friends. In fact, Perny's gonna take an actual drink of whatever's being passed
Whoa.
around.
Ooh.
Once
it's
in
part
a
of the ritual.
lifetime.
You hear an actual suctioning sound as his organs start to rehydrate.
Nice.
I'm trying to decide what would the outcome be. It's like
A party.
you're what physiological fallout would there be from such a thing?
But Ugna, you should tell them about what's the biggest monster you fought.
Oh, I mean, heaviest or just in terms of being big? Because, I mean, Befogogos was pretty big. And he had all those
That-
tentacles. Like you said, like, sea serpent's got tentacles. This was more like just a frog with tentacles, and he was pretty easy to... He ate my friend, and then I punched him in the guts until it threw him up.
Good times.
I mean, the black
I
dragon
would
was probably
like-
bigger, though.
I would like a roll from Copernicus here for persuasion,
Ooh.
because you're trying very hard to bring this conversation around. And although you are socially oblivious, you're actually pretty decent at persuasion.
Yeah. Good at talking, not good at listening. All right.
So go ahead and give me a persuasion roll.
25.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Oh my, okay. Between the the lubrication of the liquor that you've brought out, and the fact that the captain is already a little bit still tipsy to begin with, yeah, you can bring the conversation around to try the topics you wish to engage here.
I'm just so curious about. I've heard about it. It's something that I've always wanted to try, but my travels have taken me far and wide, but never quite to Aldra Cove. But I've just heard it's such a remarkable little piece of rock. I was just hoping to know more about that famous Aldra Cove hospitality, because I've heard you're so
What have
welcoming
you
and
heard?
open.
What have you heard? We're all hospitable-like and kindly and joyful.
I've heard all these things, and resilient, and as strong as the sea is deep, and always willing to invite a stranger in with things such as knowledge and tradition. And oh, what? I thought I heard something, a splash or something.
And at that point, there is a shout from the lookout, who is a halfling with like an Errol Flynn sculpted beard,
Nice.
and like a shirt open to like the third button with just a coiffed bit of
There you
chest
go.
hair that pokes out.
Excellent.
Sashes around the forehead, around the waist, just lots of billowing, silk shirt, that sort of thing. Tall turnover boots. He's perched up on the at the top of the first mast, and he shouts down, "Something in the water, off the port bow!"
Is it a sea serpent?
A massive black tentacle reaches out of the water on that side of the ship, followed by a wriggling mass of other
I like nudging the ribs, and I'm like, is that a sea
tentacle-looking
serpent?
things.
So I look and I go, I'm actually a little bit taken aback because I was sort of telling tales, and now
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh.
Man the cannons! I'm gonna run to the nearest cannon. I want to blow this thing up.
I'm gonna.
As soon as you say "man the cannons," and frankly, as soon as like someone said something in the water off the port bow, Gribblegrot is like on deck and like slavering, and starts shouting orders, but it's all like incoherent noises. And he's like at the crew.
I'm gonna pull out a bag of my hard candy and say, I think this is a grape shot situation, and pour it into the front of the cannon. This is the hardest substance I'm aware of.
The tentacle's like wrapped on the deck, right?
Yeah, it's
No,
flopped
they're
over,
just
no?
they're just in the water, reaching towards the boat. They seem to be stationary, like they're in that region, that area. And so, like, immediately, obviously, the coxswain has been steering away. So, like, the ship is veering away from that patch of tentacles rather than towards it. But in doing so, that, of course, opens the opportunity for broadside. So there are only 4 cannons on this little ship. They're all basically like rail cannons or rail guns. Which are like on swivels. They're little 2-pounders, and then there's also a pair of chasers, like the long cannons that are like at the bow, but those are fixed, right? Those sit there and they shoot wherever the ship is pointing. So they're being ignored. So there's 4 crew each run to the 2 guns on the rail and begin prepping them to fire. So you pour in a bunch of hard candies. Immediately, Gribblegrot just snarls at you, and one of the larger, burlier orcs is going to grab you by the back of your cloak and like pull you away from the cannon and like holding you off the ground as they tip all of the hard candies out of the cannon. And then they start doing all of this crazy stuff that, because you don't know anything about cannons, they've got like a thing that looks like a mop, and they're like running it down the cannon, and then they've got the, obviously, we know there's like a powder wad and all yada yada yada, because of course, just sticking a bunch of hard candies with no gunpowder is not going to do much good. Gribblegrot, hearing you say that they're like the hardest thing probably like scoops a bunch of them up and like mixes them in with his like shot as they put the wad down.
That's all I wanted.
Yeah, and they start they fire. They start firing. It's like the loudest noise you've ever heard. It's like, what the hell? Short of like certain magical creatures shrieking. Fetid is like, this is not good.
Probably not.
So both guns
That's
fire,
actually how I lost one eardrum.
which
Got too close
we've
to the cannon.
Yep.
we can all see from the picture, the little Band-Aid on Fetid's head there. So a single broadside later, the 2 cannons, both point at the patch of tentacles as the ship speeds up and like skims past, just like so gracefully and effortlessly, this incredibly fast ship. The 2 cannon strikes both hit that area. It's a large, like 10-foot square patch,
Almost
or
exactly
20-foot
10
square.
feet.
Yeah, and there is just this massive explosion of black goo as the tentacles just erupt from this cannon blast, and patches of black crap fly everywhere, and then whatever it is sinks beneath the waves from this single blast of the cannons. And Gribblegrot like leaps up and down.
I'm gonna high five him. Double high fives.
Oh yeah. I would say it's difficult, but you're short enough.
I looked a little bit visibly worried for a bit, and then I just sort of act all cool, like of course.
You're like, yeah, like
We'll
hooked your
fight-
thumbs in the
We fight this
jacket.
all the
You're like,
time.
Yeah,
Everything's under control.
that's what we do here on the Sparrow.
Oh, that's so exciting. Oh.
Your
Venture
crew
on
handles
high
themselves
seas.
well in a crisis, Captain. It was remarkable. What a remarkable story for all of us to share. To have bonded so closely and so quickly. Wow. If only there was a way to celebrate.
So I look and I go, oh, well, have you heard about, you mentioned the initiation there. What have you heard?
I've heard there's a fish and a drink and some kind of something you do to it, but that's all I've got.
I sort of look around to the crew, and I kind of go, do we tell him?
Gribblegrot is like behind you, already holding the kettle of like with like just the most like out like high octane fumes coming off of it.
Fine, and I just started cackle.
Yeah!
And then we'll do the psychotic initiation. How do you want to play that
Oh,
out?
good.
Is it just specifically? I think Perny's the one who wants to do it most here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I assume there's some kind of cod kissing thing, and whatever
There
the
is.
Caldecott version of that is.
So they
Good.
pull out this hideous fish that has been salted and dried, but they basically take and its big lips on there, and they moisten them up with some sort of waxy substance, and its eyes are long rotted and dead in the fish, and its fins are all atrophied and disgusting and peeling, and they pull out this bottle of Screech and they pour some of it in its mouth, and then they tell you have to drink from it and then make out with it.
Nice.
Oh, this is so and he starts talking to his bucket. This is so wonderful. More authentic than I could ever have imagined. Perny goes up and there's like no hesitation.
Oh God!
Yeah, he does the shot. I don't know if I was supposed to leave any behind for anyone else, but I don't. Actually,
He just chugs back this.
yeah, I'll
Only
leave the last
owning
few
the-
drops and I'll pour those into the. I'll take the top off the bucket for a second to pour that in. I pour into the
Amazing.
bucket, close it, and then I'm just gonna like both hands like, and this is a man who clearly knows how to kiss well.
Specifically fish.
And
you're
luckily he
going
just
for it.
moistened his lips. So he's but like Perny goes like slowly and sensually and
Oh,
gives
God.
this
Oh,
this
God.
rotting fish the
Two
snog
pairs
of life.
of,
Deserves.
of
The
dead
whole crew
lips.
just in unison does this like roaring cheer.
Ugna's eyebrows just keep climbing higher and higher on her face. She's like,
Yeah.
what is
Eventually they're
happening?
floating above her.
I imagine you coming away from the kiss, and it's like a chunk of like fish tongue, like,
Oh yeah.
like just a sloughed off piece of decayed flesh.
From
slip
which one of you?
down.
That's
You're
how
a
they
sparrow
snog
now,
and
boy. You're a sparrow now.
So is anyone gonna eat that, or can I have it?
Oh,
And yeah, Perny is absolutely beaming. Just he looks like a Make-A-Wish boy. Like
wow. Wow.
Yeah, they go to like throw the fish off like overboard, and Fetid like jumps up and catches it and swallows it whole,
Oh,
Delicious.
like a fucking pelican.
Best fish I've ever had.
good. Lord.
on that road, I need to make my exit. Perny will stay and reek of fish and high octane liquor.
Good.
Incredible.
But this has been wonderful. Thank you all. I have nothing to plug. And thank you so much, Jim. This is
My
wonderful.
pleasure.
Thanks for hanging out.
Thanks for having me.
Can you leave your camera on but covered and muted? Sweet.
Yeah,
Good.
I'll do exactly that. Alrighty.
We're only gonna do another a few minutes here.
Yeah. We're close.
In any case, I would have done more at this stage, but with Randy having to bow out from being
Oh,
sick,
totally.
I think we'll just tie things up
Sure.
with a nice little bow. So yeah, you travel on into the day. Half the crew actually goes and sleeps below deck during the
In
day.
hammocks.
Yep,
In hammocks.
hammocks properly.
Damn it.
Yep. And they don't. There's only like there's no cabins. There's like one. This is a schooner. It doesn't even have like a quarterdeck at the back. It's got like there's like a little bit of a tiny captain's cabin at the ass end of the ship, and there's nothing else but the hold.
And no bookshelf in that cabin.
Yeah.
The scene of him with all the books falling off was very good.
Fair,
it was.
yeah. To be fair to the show, our flag means death. They sent that up. They did the
They
whole
did.
like
They did.
they did the joke about it that the bookshelf is very impractical.
And that literally everything on this boat is mad.
Yes.
Yep. But yeah, so you have some opportunity to chat with the captain, explore the ship a little bit as you journey on. We'll say that Copernicus at this point is going to go start doing his rituals to try and commune with the great beyond and get information, and we'll deal with that next time. The fallout from that.
Just so you know, there's a chance my friend might be insane for a little while. It's fine, he'll get over it. But there might be
Yeah.
like some screaming, gibbering.
We'll tie him up. We're used to it. Don't worry
So
about
just
it.
look and go, as long as you handle it, we handle our own too.
Anything you guys want to check out on the ship before I speed up to like where you kind of travel to?
I want to see if there's any more of that fish for me.
Oh God.
Give me more
The
rock fish.
salted, disgusting fish.
Yes. Oh,
That's what Heracles and Jericles. That's how they paid their way. They have to
Oh, yeah.
salt the fish and get it ready.
Oh, I was picturing them when I said that they're lubbers. I was picturing them as like, almost like conscripts, like crew you've
Oh.
picked up. You need some more crew, so you're like, you two are coming with us, and they're lubbers because they have to learn their trade.
Yeah, so that's why I put them to work. They're literally like peeling
Yep.
potatoes and salting the fish and
Hauling ropes,
moving
whatever
barrels.
they can,
Yeah,
the unskilled work that can be done.
you got it.
So, Jeff, you do a little bit of exploring on the ship then, Fetid, and you will encounter, the basics. So, like I've already described above decks, there's a sort of half-raised aft quarterdeck. So you basically have like the slightly raised area where there's a cabin. That's like kind of not off limits, but it's like locked up. That's like the captain's cabin and where the navigation would take place and so forth. I'll also, just to give you some more flavor, you'll notice a few times that the captain pulls out a small golden disc that appears to be some sort of magical compass and takes his bearings from it regularly as you travel along. No real charting. You stay very close to the shore, like within just sight of the shoreline, as is very common for smugglers because it allows you to basically flee into the shallower waters if ships of various nations come along and potentially try to board or whatever. This is a very, very small, shallow draft ship, very quick, rapid little schooner. And it has, in addition to the guns I described on deck and the single mast with a top that has like lots of rails around it for a lookout. Below decks, there's basically one large hold with a little area sort of cordoned off at the front of the ship and a little area cordoned off at the back of the ship. At the back of the ship, beneath the cabin, are like the cable tiers full of ropes and stores. At the front of the ship, there's a little space for the galley where the ship's cook can work. And otherwise, the main deck is just all the hold below here until you get down to the bilge, which of course is just full of like ballast and water.
Mhm.
The hold has the central area where there's open space where things like sails are stored and ropes and stuff like this. And this is the open space where the hammocks are slung for the crew to sleep in rows. But then further back and forward, there's cargo. And so you can kind of slip around, and some of the cargo is just food. There's like not like huge stores of food and water because this is not a ship that makes like giant ocean voyages. So it's not like they have like months of food and water that just have days, which is plenty. But towards the front of the ship, there's an area that's somewhat cordoned off with bulkheads, like those little removable walls that you can put up and divide up the space. And beyond that is the cargo that is being kept. And you remember hearing Mr. Scree say to the captain, the cargo is all aboard, sir, when people first came aboard, although Fetid technically wasn't there at that point. But and you notice, interestingly, as you're skulking around looking for things to eat, unfortunately, most of the food and stuff down here is like well boxed and barreled up and not accessible without effort. Although you do find like one open sack of like moldy ship's biscuits, which you're like, sweet. It's like kombucha. It's been flavored.
The good shit.
But towards the front of the hold, beyond these barricades, you slip in through the cracks and take a little peek and scout around, are just a whole bunch of barrels. Just like a whole rows and rows of, as many as like a dozen to even 20 of these like moderate sized barrels all roped together to keep them from like rolling around and hold them still. And while you're checking out these, there's no signs on them or any kind of symbols as to what they might be. You're sort of wondering, is this all like liquor or something, or like fuel for those crazy like fire shooting things up on top of the deck? You actually hear some weird squeaking and scratching noises coming from these various barrels.
That's unsettling.
Like there's something moving around inside them. No, it's not to say. I should also note that obviously that's not super unusual. Like you hear scratching and scrabbling around as you've come through here. There's rats. In fact, let me roll here. Yeah, you managed to eat 5 of them. You eat like 5 rats as you're scavenging around.
Delicious. Ship rats are good. They're like extra crunchy.
They're pre-salted. It's nice.
Yeah. Yep. They smell of the sea.
But that's not what you're hearing coming from these. There's something in these barrels.
Is there any way I could open one but still be able to? You know what? No. I do not want to open this on my own and release.
Well, the primary way to open these barrels is to like break them open, right? Like with an axe. But you do notice that several of these barrels, like a few of them facing your way, have. I'm going to say the actual term, and I know it's going to get a laugh, but I'm going to say it anyway. They are called bungholes.
Yep.
But they actually have the large holes with a great big cork or bung in them to access the contents without breaking it open. And I will point out that you have the flaw curiosity.
Oh god, that's true.
Our flaws
So
are
if you
hitting us
want to
good today.
check, I may force a roll.
Yeah, alright.
I'm also just going to push up this really amazing art Lar just sent over.
Oh God, Laura, you're just on fire tonight.
It's relevant to this current plot.
Nice.
It's very good.
Holy crap, he's so fast.
Right?
It's insane.
I want to see. Oh, there it is.
They're all fully colored, and like sometimes they have elaborate backgrounds. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
That is, I don't know that I gave a lot of description about Mr. Scree, but that is literally what you said when I first mentioned the character to you, Alina. That it was like a cross between Iago and
Yep.
Mr. Smee. That is perfect. Lar, you're
Amazing.
pretty awesome.
I just love the fish, the like Kermit face
Yes.
fish.
Yep.
Very good.
Glorious.
Oh, is that outfit on the Goblin a reference to something, or is it just like standard sailor stuff? Probably just standard sailor stuff. I vaguely am getting like a Muppet vibe off of that Goblin.
Oh, the
Wouldn't
goblin.
look past-
No, I know he's the Mad Bomber.
Yeah, yeah.
Muppet.
He's just dressed
That's
like a
totally who
pirate.
he is.
Yes,
Yes,
it's
that's exactly who he is.
oh, what's his name? Oh yes,
Good lord.
I've forgotten his name.
He's
Crazy Harry.
Crazy Harry, yes.
Oh, Lar. Okay, so Jeff, do you want to make a roll, or are you just going for it? What do you want to do?
What would I have to roll to try and not do this terrible idea?
So it would be what I would call a will check, which is
Yeah.
basically a wisdom save.
Alright, well, I don't have... Actually, I have decent wisdom, so
You
let's
got
see.
a +4. You could make the
Yeah.
roll. You don't have to. It's your choice. If you want to role play it, that you just do it. You can.
That's not
Or
very
you
good. Is a 13.
How hard is this? How curious are you? I'm gonna roll a luck
Ooh.
signifier.
Uh-huh.
It's a D6. High roll is good. Low roll is bad, and I have rolled a 1. So you're basically going, no, this would be a very bad idea. I don't know what's in there. It's something
God.
living. It could be a problem.
I
And you
just...
hear just a little, as you're turning your back
Oh, no.
from the area of the bunghole, you hear a little,
Jesus.
you hear what sounds like a tiny, almost childlike voice saying, please help,
Oh, god
please
damn.
help.
Alright, well then I guess I have to friggin... Ugh.
Somebody's smuggling quaggles.
You want to check
Yeah,
the bunghole?
I can't.
Would you like to check the bunghole?
Welcome to the stream.
I'm in my 40s now. It's gonna happen.
You gotta do
Gotta
it.
do it regularly.
Yeah. Annual.
Check
That's
the
important.
bunghole, please.
Have you seen that episode of Letterkenny?
I have not.
Oh my
Oh
god,
god,
that is
it's
so good. Yep. Yep. The proctology exam episode.
Oh dear. Oh
Also,
dear.
Tio
It is
Horn in that episode. It's very good.
Yeah, Tia
Exceedingly
Horn
good.
explaining to a bunch of all the male characters how easy they have it getting a prostate exam versus,
Versus a pap smear.
pap smear
Uh,
is quite amusing. All right, you're gonna go for it.
yeah, I have to.
All right, so we will end on the visual of Fed pulling out the bunghole and like trying to stick his head in to ask a question, and the just swarm of little fairy pixie things that just comes spewing forth
Oh, for fuck's sake.
as you do so,
Cool.
immediately hitting you with that magic pixie dust. So we'll save that saving throw for next time.
Amazing.
And I can reveal that the choice of dangerous cargo was made in the second poll. It was a very close race between a bound demon and
good.
Honestly, you know what? I prefer
the
the
fairies.
fairies, I think.
Right?
I think people were going hard on the demon because they thought it would be a Copernicus
yeah.
problem.
Right.
Probably would have been.
Nice.
Okay. And that is where we will leave off
All right.
for the night. So a big thank you to our special
Yes.
guest, Jim Zub,
It was a
Thank you
delight
for
having
having
you.
awesome Newfie Pirate
Yes.
Pro.
Christoph Krestop,
Good.
a classy name. Yeah, we didn't
And-
start adding the Han Solo Millennium Falcon stuff till after, but I was like, okay, we'll lean into some of that. It was good.
100% the Moss Eisner Cantina. That
Wow, that
made
was
me
yours.
decide
I
was
didn't
gonna
come up
do
with any of that.
No, I literally came up with that in the shower and went, well, I guess that's what I'm doing.
Man.
Also, you're like the one NPC now that knows our entire history.
Right?
It's all your shit.
And will not blackmail you
No.
with it at all. No.
Listen, there's a
certainly
reason I'm in trouble with the mob.
Right?
It's this.
Awesome.
And of course, a big thanks to Randy, who had to leave early
Yeah.
because he was feeling
I
sick.
hope he's feeling
and
better.
Peter, who had to leave early because he has some kind of like fermenting thing happening in his house.
There was a chicken and like hand churned butter.
Oh my goodness.
It's cooking night.
And of course, Jeff, who had to be off camera because of his disgusting injuries.
So gross.
Don't show your face around here, sir.
My one ear is literally sticking out at a 45-degree angle because of the swelling. It's pretty gnarly.
You
I'm
said
just
it wasn't
impressed.
very painful, though, right?
No, the pain really has not been bad at all. I've
That's
just been
good.
taking ibuprofen once a day, and that's been plenty.
Nice.
I'm really impressed with like the turnaround on that recovery from the surgery.
Yeah.
Because it's what, been 2 days, 3 days?
Yeah, I was back to work yesterday.
Wow.
I felt well enough, so it's pretty
Nice.
cool.
Cool.
Awesome. And so, as always, I will put out the call here around the circle for anything anybody wants to pitch or
Yeah, and look out the
promo.
at the artist links. I've got Zub's links in there.
Oh, thanks.
Check them out.
Yeah, if any of your people haven't seen my stuff, I'm known for writing comics. Way back in the day, I did webcomic stuff, which is where I met Jeff and a bunch of other fine folks here, like Lar on the stream drawing up a storm. But yeah, now I'm known for writing comics, so I do a bunch of stuff at Marvel. I've been doing the official Dungeons and Dragons comic since 2014 when 5th edition launched, which is crazy.
That is wild.
Yeah, I've written more D&D comics than any other writer, so, and I want that to
Dang.
continue. I
Dang.
will, my streak will stay unbroken. I'm going to keep it going. So, yeah, I've got a new D&D annual coming this summer. We just wrapped up Mindbreaker, which is sort of like a soft prelude to Baldur's Gate 3, the video game.
Oh, yeah.
My wife and I work together on the D&D Young Adventurers Guide. So if you've got young players or new players that you want to bring into the hobby, we put together that book series. It was an absolute joy to put together. And then just other fun kind of comic stuff. I'm doing a series at Marvel called Thunderbolts, which has got Hawkeye leading a team of superheroes that I think you guys are going to really enjoy. And that comes out, launches next month. And keep me out of trouble. Lots of good stuff on the go.
And of course, you can check
Awesome.
out the link to his Patreon and social media are up above, and I think someone just dropped
Yeah,
them in the
thanks for
chat
posting
as
that,
well.
Kai, too.
Oh, very cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just jimzub.com is the easiest place to find kind of everything. And I've got tutorials there as well. If you want to learn how comics are written or how to pitch a publisher or what it's like to work in the business, I've got all kinds of articles and stuff there. So check those out. Sweet.
Cool. Anybody got anything else to shout out? Obviously, Peter and Randy, you guys are just going to have to go to their regular websites and social media because they're not here at the moment. But
Yeah, I don't have anything,
Anything
new
else?
to shout out.
Yeah, not
Been
here.
pretty chill.
Usual.
awesome. Well, I will send out, of course, a big old thank you and shout out to the Shadow DM, Dan,
Thank you,
as always.
Dan.
Thank you.
And we will see y'all next time,
Roll
which
a
should
D20.
be.
Lane, roll a D20 before we log off.
Oh, right. It's time. But well, I'm just going to announce the next game because I think we're going to be on the 22nd. I think we can stay on a Friday
All right.
next time around. But we'll post in the schedule so everybody knows. And of course, please do join us on the stream Patreon and the stream Discord. Links to both of those are in the About section below the stream right now. And you can join in the fun there. I've been posting random stuff like maps and game-related lore on the Patreon and the
Magic
Discord
items
both.
and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And some of the
Good
cool
homebrew.
stuff. So, and lastly, for our subscribers, I have rolled number 8.
Number 8 is Emilias Revenge.
Awesome. Emilias Revenge, you are the winner this game of the sketch card. So you can expect to be contacted about your prize. Some fun drawings from some of our artists.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much,
And
everybody, for joining us.
That's it.
Awesome. Thank you
Big
for
thanks to
having me.
Zub.
And we'll catch you all next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care.